Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Sweatable podcast. My name is Brooks Herbis, and I'm an online fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach who's here to help you simplify and make sense out of the all too confusing fitness and nutrition industry. Let's be real, there's a lot of conflicting information online, and it can be hard to know what's legit and who to trust. In every episode, I'll be sharing the science and psychology behind health, fitness, and long-lasting behavior change. But I'll also be sharing real-life practical application because all of the best info in the world only matters if you can actually apply it to your real life. So grab a coffee, water, glass of wine, or lace up your walking shoes, and let's dive in. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Sweat Symbol podcast. And before we dive in, I have something super exciting to share with you guys. I am hosting a self-sabotage workshop on Tuesday, August 13th. This is a completely free workshop where I'll be giving you the strategies to stop self-sabotaging so you can finally lose fat and keep it off for good. Now, if you are someone who knows you should be eating the salads and going to the gym, but week after week you find yourself making excuses, or maybe you can be perfect for a few weeks or a few days, but something always comes up that makes your goals feel impossible to reach. These are all sneaky ways of self-sabotaging. And if you fall into one of those buckets, this workshop is going to be a huge benefit to you. So you can sign up right in the link to the show notes, pause this episode real quick, reserve your spot, and then jump right back in. Today's episode is going to be a super juicy one because I tend to work with a lot of high achieving women who work really hard and want to be successful at everything that they do. And I bet if you're listening to this podcast, you might also fall into this camp. And because of that, you might be someone who labels yourself as a perfectionist. And for many of us, we think perfectionism is a good thing. Perfectionism is something to be proud of. And well, this high level of achievement and need for perfectionism might help you be successful in other areas of your life. It's actually really likely holding you back from reaching your health and fitness goals. And that might be surprising to hear, especially if you are one of those high achieving, goal-getting women. You're like, my perfectionism is a good thing. My perfectionism is why I'm so perfect. I hold myself to this really high standard. How could this be the thing that's holding me back from reaching my health and fitness goals? How could being perfect and trying to do everything to the absolute best of my ability be the thing that's actually hindering all of my progress? And I know that this is going to be surprising to hear, but it's actually one of the number one things that's holding you back from really seeing the results that you want. And the truth is that perfectionism can take many forms, but when it comes to your fitness journey, it often looks like all or nothing thinking. So let's see if any of this sounds familiar to you. If you miss a few workouts at the start of the week, you tend to just do none at all so that you can start fresh the next week. Like, let's say your program calls for 6 workouts a week and you only did 2. So instead of moving on to the next week of the program, or instead of doing 3 workouts for the week, you just stop and know that you'll start your program over the next day. Or maybe if you can't perfectly hit your calories, or you realize as the day's going on that you're going to be over your calories, you just throw in the towel and call the day, or maybe even the whole weekend a wash, and you just stop tracking completely. It's better if you aren't going to be perfect and hit your numbers. It's really better if you just don't see it at all. Or maybe if you perfectly planned your meals or your calories for the week and something comes up where you can't follow that initial plan you laid out, you tend to just say screw it and go in the complete opposite direction of the healthy meal you planned. So maybe you were going to have your chicken and your broccoli and your rice for dinner, but you run late to work and you don't really have time to cook that. So instead you just say, ugh, whatever, I can't follow that plan, so I'm just going to order pizza. If you're nodding along to any of these, like, yes, this is me, I feel this deeply in my core, do me a favor and shoot me a DM and let me know which one of those resonated with you the most. I seriously love hearing when you guys are listening to the podcast and when you feel like something is hitting home, because sometimes it feels like I am just speaking into the abyss in this random microphone in my guest bedroom / office. So if you're like, yes, I hear this, shoot me a DM, let me know that this is resonating. And then in addition to that, if you tend to fall into this all or nothing trap, it's probably because this seems like the right thing to do. When you're a perfectionist, you want to do this journey, you want to hit all of your habits perfectly. Otherwise, you feel like it's not really worth doing. But the truth and the thing and the mindset shift that we really need to make if you want to be successful moving forward is that you are missing out on a lot of success that happens in that gray area. There is a lot of success to be had with not being perfect. And this all or nothing thinking, this perfectionism is leading you to a lot of starting and stopping. Just like when you feel like you're getting into a groove, just like you feel like when you're finally making some progress, life happens. You can't be perfect anymore. You can't perfectly follow your plan or your habits or whatever it might be. And so you just stop. And then you're losing a day or two of any sort of progress, just waiting until you can be perfect again. And I want to give you a real life concrete example of this because I know that sometimes we don't really understand how this really is coming into play. We're like, yeah, I get all or nothing thinking, but I don't really see how it could possibly be impacting my goals so much. I still really think that like perfectionism is it, and if I can just be like perfect and follow my habits, I'm gonna see results. So let's walk through a concrete example, and this might even sound pretty familiar. So let's say that you have a program that you're following to get, and it's a 4 workout a week program, and you have a plan to get 4 workouts in this week, and you're in the second week of this program that you're on. So let's say you do the first workout, but then work gets really busy and suddenly it's Friday and you haven't done any more workouts. You just say, you know what, week is a wash. I'm going to start week 2 over next week because you didn't get all of your workouts in, so you have to start the program over. Next week, you get 2 workouts in, but again, work gets really busy. And now you're frustrated that this is going to be your 3rd week, starting week 2 over because you haven't gotten all 4 workouts in each week. So you decide that, you know what, it's not really worth it, and you're just going to try again next month. So for the entire month, you've gotten in 3 total workouts. 1 the first week, 2 the second week, and then none after that. Now, let's say that you ditch your perfectionism. Let's take the same scenario and say that you have a 4-day-a-week program and you are in week 2 of it. Let's say you do the first workout of week 2, but then work gets really busy again, and it's that same Friday, and you haven't done any more workouts. But instead of saying screw it this time, you just do your second workout of the week on Friday, and then you do the 3rd workout on Saturday. Now Monday, the next week, instead of starting week 2 over, you just pick up right where you left off. You do your final workout of week 2, and then you start on to week 3 of the program. So that's 2 workouts for week 2. Later in the week, you have a meeting that goes a little bit later and you end up only having 20 minutes to work out. Instead of just saying, screw it, can't do the whole thing, not worth it, you do as much of that workout as you can in 20 minutes. Boom. Okay, that's now 3 workouts done for the week. You've got some momentum built up now. You feel like you're making progress. So the next week, you're actually able to get all 4 of your workouts in. Let's freaking go. Now you are 3 weeks into the month and you have 10 total workouts done. That's already 7 more workouts than in the perfectionist scenario. What was the difference? What was the difference between those two? How did those extra 7 workouts happen? It's realizing that the need to be perfect is actually just an excuse to not be taking action. Oof. Did that one hit home a little bit? I'm going to say it one more time. the need to be perfect is actually just an excuse to not be taking action. Here's the cold, hard truth that I think we all know. Life is not perfect. In fact, life is typically far from it. Life is pretty freaking messy. And there are going to be weeks where things do not go as planned and where you can't be perfect. I'd actually argue that for most of your fitness journey, perfectionism is not possible. So, are you going to continue to let this perfectionism and your all or nothing thinking hold you back from taking action? Because that's really what it is. Your need to be perfect, your want to perfectly follow through with your program, that difference of 7 workouts is really just you holding yourself back from taking any sort of action. You're allowing yourself that opportunity to not try, and by not trying, you give into the idea that you won't fail. Versus if you start thinking, okay, I need to ditch this all or nothing thinking. I need to eliminate my perfectionism. I need to take action anyways. Then you're opening yourself up to the risk of potential failure. But the truth is that taking action and that possible failure is still going to get you a heck of a lot further than staying in your perfectionism and not taking any action at all. So, are you going to continue to let that perfectionism and your all or nothing thinking hold you back from taking any sort of action? Or are you ready to start to realize that this constant starting, stopping, it's really starting to impact your health and fitness goals? Instead of being on this continuous trend and feeling like you're in this for life, you're in this constant cycle of stopping and then starting again, putting yourself on this timeline, being perfect, stopping when you can't be, restarting again 3 weeks later. You're in this never-ending cycle of feeling like you're on timelines and deadlines and this never-ending start and stop journey, as opposed to just one continuous journey that is truly life. And at the end of the day, perfectionism is really just a version of self-sabotage because, again, by trying to be perfect, you're allowing yourself to avoid the risk of taking any action at all, really. And if you're to the point where you're tired of that, you're tired of the starting and stopping, you are tired of letting this hold you back from a continuous, ongoing health and fitness journey, I really recommend that you attend my workshop on August 13th. And again, you can sign up in my bio. Because in order to really see the success that you want, we have to get comfortable with ditching the perfectionism. We have to stop using that as an excuse. And we have to start committing to taking action, even if it doesn't look the way that we think it, quote unquote, should. So I hope that this episode sparked some light bulbs for you and helped you understand that at the end of the day, even if you have good intentions with it, your perfectionism is holding you back from reaching your goals big time. And if you want to see your progress, if you're someone who's busy, if you don't want your stress and your busy weeks and all of that to be constantly feeling like a roadblock, a hurdle, the thing that's holding you back from reaching your goals, we need to start shifting our mindset around perfectionism, and we need to really start to ditch your all or nothing thinking. So I hope that this episode was helpful. As always, I really appreciate hearing from you guys when you guys listen. So please shoot me a DM. Let me know if this was helpful. But just in general, thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you at my workshop in a few weeks, and have a great rest of your week.